Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. It's your boy Kai. Today, this is my first episode of 2024, which I'm super excited about. I'm sitting down with the amazing Noa Elan, a visionary in the realm of community building and the CEO at Bloom Community. A really great community that I'm so fortunate to be a part of. And Noah's passion for creating inclusive spaces resonates deeply with me personally, and my mission to break down mental health stigmas, especially surrounding things like introversion and ADHD and all of that kind of stuff. And we're going to be talking all about that today. But before we get started, Noah, hi, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel it was like we did the whole chasing each other, right? I was like, okay,
Yeah,
let's do it. And then we were supposed to meet talk in like December 30th. We're like, we're
yeah.
gonna get it in before the end of the year. And then we're like, no.
I know it was such a busy time frame for I think everybody. And but like it works out because you get to now be my first
The
show
first
of
one. I
2024,
know.
which I'm super excited about. I'm really excited to speak with you because you have a very just rich background in so many things, including community building, starting up businesses, all that kind of stuff. How did you end up at something like Bloom Community? How did you get there? I want to start there and then we'll grow into everything else. But uh,
Totally.
describe what Bloom Community is and how your previous experience led to the creation of that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was just reflecting on it because this is like the beginning of the year.
Hmm.
And back in January 2023, like January 1st, I was like I was unemployed. I was like
Hmm.
recently unemployed again, like one of the tech layoffs. But I
Yeah.
had this like existential crisis that I was like, I
Hmm.
can't keep on doing this thing where I'm I have a great career. I've been, I'm an executive, I'm a
Hmm.
CMO, I've worked at Lyft and Adobe and
Yeah.
Square and all the cool companies.
Yeah.
But like I feel like endlessly, not useful in the world, right? And
Hmm.
like not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's weird because I have this like gap between what the world thinks about me, right? Like what LinkedIn thinks about me and what
Right.
I actually feel inside, right? So it's like this gap that I was feeling. And for probably like a decade at that point, I was feeling like, okay, I'm doing these jobs, but like no one gets me. I'm not doing really what I'm supposed to be doing. I come to my CEO and I'm like, we're gonna do this campaign. And he's like, okay, let's do it because you're the CMO, but I don't understand why, right? There was like
Right.
this constant feeling of like, why doesn't like it doesn't feel like the great fit? And I know how it feels like a
Hmm.
great fit because I've been doing a lot of community work in the site. So I host monthly poly circles and I
Right.
host play parties and I host like I coach people about non-monogamy. And I know when it works because they're like,
Yeah.
Noah, tell me what party you're organizing and take my money. I don't even care what it is.
Right.
Just
Right.
like let me know what I'm going. So I know that there's this feeling of flow, right? That we
Hmm.
all have when we do something that we're really aligned with. And I was like, I'm not doing it at my work. And it felt like this big gap of identity.
Hmm.
And when I lost my job in December of 2022, I was like, this is it. I'm not going to keep on doing this cycle because I'm 40 and I'm probably going to be 60 in the same place if I don't do anything. I'm like just
Right. Right.
being, doing the same cycle. So I was like, I'm going to try and resource myself as much as I can to actually act not out of anxiety and out of a sense of scarcity, but actually take this opportunity to find my career flow.
Right. Right.
And that has led me to Bloom in some way, which is my dream job. But I was like, okay, and I think overall this is our work, right? Like how do you keep your finger on the path and you don't know where the
Right.
path is going, but like as long
Yeah.
as you stay attuned and you kind of follow one
Yeah.
step, like something will uncover in itself.
I love everything that Bloom stands for because I mean, you feel so welcome no matter what you identify as, no matter what brings you joy, whatever it may be. You created this amazing community of people that not only have safe space, but they learn. They get to
Yeah.
learn so many things, and I've been very fortunate. You and your team have invited me to become part of that instructional series, where last year I did a presentation on how ADHD and sex kind of coincide with each other, which is huge, which is a gigantic connection, more so than what people realize. And I'm this is going to be news for everybody. I'm going to break some news today. So only my closest friends know this, but I said in 2024 that I would uh uh talk more about this. I do identify as poly, and I have never said that out loud before.
Oh,
I have never said that out loud. My closest friends, they know it, and obviously the people that I've dated, and I never really fully understood it until I would say the last like couple of years, especially in the last year. Um, and it's fascinating to know that there are people out there like me. It's such an eye-opening experience, and I feel safe around you and your community to say that.
yes,
So
I
like,
love that.
so poly pride over here. I'm really happy to finally just say that publicly. I don't know why
I
I was.
love
I don't know
that.
why. I think there's a stigma surrounding it. Like, do you hear like the stigma surrounding polyamory?
Totally. And I
Yeah,
think, well, I do think, it seems it's funny because when you're in counterculture world, it seems like so obvious in some way
yeah,
to be poly
yeah.
or to be queer. But I think that the truth is we live in a sex negative world, right? And
Hmm.
I think that I always passed as normal, right? Like I'm married,
Hmm.
I have two kids.
Right, right.
I look regular, whatever it is, heteronormative. And I
Yeah,
think that I was hiding it, right? Like I was like, oh, I do things in the weekend that no one really knows about, or I
right,
have like
right.
relationships that no one knows about. And I felt this like sense of like, okay, what am I doing to normalize non-monogamy? What am I doing
Hmm.
to normalize alternative relationships? And yeah, even when I joined Bloom, it's interesting because it's like an app for counterculture people to find community, right?
Yeah,
And I felt how, I stepped in as the CEO and I'm like, this is like my moment of LinkedIn,
yeah.
fame. But I was like, oh, I felt so embarrassed, or I don't know if embarrassed, but like scared about posting because I was like,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
will people think about me? Right. And it was really interesting, even how I posted, and so many people were like not really touching it in some way. Like
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
someone from my business school email me being like, oh, I checked it out. I don't really, it's really interesting, dot, dot, dot. Not sure what I
Right.
expected. And
Hmm.
all this shame, like, just flushed through me. But, and it's true,
Yeah.
like the world and tech world and all that. It's like, we don't want to talk about sex. We don't want to
Hmm.
talk about relating. We don't want to talk about,
Hmm.
body stuff. We're
Yes.
all robots. And there's no gender. We're all robots. We just need to use our
Right.
brain and do work. And I'm like, no, no, no. I am a mammal. Guess
Right.
what? I delivered kids from my body.
Yes. Yes.
Like, how
Hmm.
do we talk about the
Absolutely.
weird stuff about like
Right.
life and being a human in this world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for the people that don't know, do you mind taking a second and just explaining what polyamory is? Because I know
Yeah,
I've heard definitions. I was like, no, that's
I
not it.
know.
If you don't mind taking a couple seconds just to like explain what
Oh,
exactly that is.
oh my God. Um, well, I would consider for me polyamory, right, is
Hmm.
the idea that you can love more than one person and be in a
Hmm.
relationship than with more than one person.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to send you this Bloom workshop that we did after that, Kai, but she was talking about moving away even from monogamy and non-monogamy as like the
Hmm.
two edges, and thinking about like beyond non-monogamy is like being in the flow, like, oh, I might fall in love with you and now we're
Right.
gonna not be in relationship with anyone else because we're
Right.
doing this thing of deepening. And then we might want to completely open and not
Hmm.
be, committed to anyone. So I think polyamory is under the umbrella of like non-monogamies, but really under the
Right.
umbrella of like everything is possible. Like any
Hmm.
relationship that you might
Yes.
have is possible. And really, like, how do we not judge, right? Like, how do we not judge people that are like, oh, you can only sleep with strangers when you're on a business trip and I don't want to know about
Right.
it, is not
Right.
less good than
Yeah.
me, my husband, his girlfriend, and my kids all go to like a Christmas party. Like, I think all of these should be welcomed as long as people express with consent their
Right.
relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said all of this because obviously am I have ADHD. I'm an
Yeah.
introvert. And I don't personally use like things like dating apps anymore, but I know a lot of my audience does. A lot of my friends do. Like sometimes they'll give me their phone and they'll be like, "Hey Kai, if you want to swipe for 5 minutes on who you think," and stuff like that.
Share the
Um,
dopamine.
oh yeah, it's like
Sharing is
it's really
caring. This is polyamory. Polyamory is like I don't want to only enjoy the dopamine rush
exactly.
of swiping. Here, you can have that as well.
Exactly. No, it's really funny. It's really exciting. And it's really interesting when it comes to like to dating apps and such. How do you feel things like ADHD and dating apps meld together? How do they coincide with each other?
Before I do that, how
Yeah.
do you meet people? Yeah, how do you
Me,
meet people?
I don't.
You don't.
And this is why I'm single with two cats because
You're
because
theoretically poly.
well, so the thing is like I have had trouble finding someone that recognizes and understands that. Number one. Number two, I am so busy that I
Yeah,
feel like I would be the worst partner ever right
yeah.
now. Like incredibly. And also three, the traumatic experiences that I've had in the last couple of years, both of my fault and of others, it has turned me off from actively seeking. And I think
Like
it's because of
relationship.
yeah, because I think there's a fear within me that I'm going to something's going to trigger and I'm going to either make the same mistakes or somebody's going to take advantage of me again, that kind of stuff. So I'm not closed off
Yeah.
to dating or seeing people or and all of that because there are people that I talk to. There's people that I um integrate with, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't actively seek it right now.
And I, and I
Hmm.
and I think I think that's part of the benefit, right, of being in
Yeah.
like in community, right? And in more
Hmm.
like alternative communities, like you are able, like you might be able to find the relationship that is like the right fit for your capacity. And
Hmm.
like I feel you, right? Like I'm leading this company and it's like I'm like this is my relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
I am in a relationship with this company
Yeah.
and I have also like a family and kids
Right.
and relationship stuff, and I'm like I have 5% battery. That's how I feel. I'm like this is all I
Hmm.
got. I have 5%
Yes.
battery in my life, and I'm unavailable to like actually, have FaceTime calls with you in some way, like
Yeah.
and can I own it and be like, hey, I can meet you at a party and we can kiss. I
Hmm.
can maybe text you tomorrow, but I can't even really jump on the phone and do like a
Right.
processing conversation, right?
Exactly.
And maybe
Hmm.
that's okay, right? But it's like I want to be like the best, right? I want to
Yeah.
give everything to
Because you hold
everyone.
yourself in a high regard, right? Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
And some of me is like maybe the high regard is to just own what you're available for, right? And
Yeah.
really,
Hmm.
and so I think that there's something about community and relating and not being like, oh, I am unavailable for like the one or the attachment relationship. But yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you're available to like make out, friends with
Right.
benefits with someone.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, how do you find more of like the community and relationship that you actually want?
Absolutely. And that's the tough part. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't shy away from seeking it out. But the times that I have had conversations with people about it, either they don't understand, number one, or number two, it's not what they're looking for, which is totally fine. Or number three, like it's tough because I feel like they deserve a quality relationship that a type of relationship that I can't provide. Like the expectation of what a
Yeah.
partner is, I cannot provide that right now. And that's tough because like you, I hold myself to a very high standard and I want to, and of course I'm a people pleaser. Good Lord. And so like, so I want to be happy and I want my partner to be happy. But also the things that take up my time, they also bring me so much joy. Making content brings me joy. Going to work every day brings me joy. Doing theater at night brings me joy. That's my day. That is my life. And it's not often that I'm thinking about, okay, I'm gonna go out to dinner with my partner today. I can't.
Right.
It's really tough for me to integrate that into my schedule, which is
Yeah.
kind of weird to say, but it's true.
No, it's so
Yeah.
true, right? And I
Hmm.
think like it's like we have period, right? That you're like,
Hmm.
now I'm nesting, now I'm building my career, now I'm writing like this one, eh, like this high or this community. Do you
Yeah.
have people that are like friends that you do some of these projects with, or it's you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So the things that I work on, uh like when I leave work, like there are tons of people. I'm so blessed to have so many incredible people in my life, that are just really supportive and kind and loving. In fact, I'm going out to Disneyland with two of my best friends in a couple weeks, which I'm super excited about because I've been to Disney World so many times, but I've never been to Disneyland. So I'm super excited about that. And those are two people that, bring me joy and all of that. So I'm so fortunate to have a good circle of friends. The circle has gotten smaller as I've gotten older, but like that's not a bad thing
Yeah,
at all.
totally.
It's not a
Well,
bad
it
thing.
sounds like you're doing really well with not just chasing the novelty all the time.
Yeah, I'm content.
You have secure attachment with yourself. Is that what you're
I
saying?
actually I don't need. I'm at a point now in my life that I don't need validation from other people. Like it feels good when I do, but I'm able to find the validation within myself. I know that what I do is bringing me happiness and joy, and I want to be able to provide that for other people and also have them provide that for me. Like it's just like a mutual understanding. And it's tough to find people that understand that. It's tough, but it's understandable when they have a certain expectation of a relationship of what that should be. I don't get mad at anyone that I date. I don't get mad at them.
Yeah.
It's just tough,
And I think
you
you're
know?
touching on the real challenge or pain or process that it takes to like get to know someone, right? And I think so
Yes.
many people are isolated and alone. You're like, I want to find a partner, but it's like a pretty
It's a
painful if you think about like
process.
the user emotions associated.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
lot of work and a lot of like risk assessment and a lot of
Yeah.
and I think that's like one of the challenges, right, of like dating apps in some way is
Mhm.
people come in with the intention of finding a person, but then you end up getting enough dopamine hits by like
Yes.
matching or swiping and like the novelty, and b even when you match you're like, wait, now I have to reassess, like, do I actually want to
Yeah.
meet this person? What
Yeah.
was I
Yeah.
thinking? Do I even have capacity to meet them? And then you text
Right.
and you try, so it's like the process after getting like the success is
Mhm.
so painful sometimes that you're like, I'm just giving up on it in some way.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that's like a huge challenge of like these apps that give you immediate reward versus like
Mm.
how intense and draining and complicated it is to actually get to the end goal that you signed up to begin with.
Right, right. And I ultimately don't want to hurt people. And I know you feel the same way. Like I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want, because everybody goes through trauma. Everybody goes through a broken heart. And I don't want to break anybody's heart because I've had
Yeah.
my heart broken, and I've broken hearts before, and it's a shitty feeling on my end. I've had my heart broken. It's a shitty feeling on that end as well. And I don't want to go through that ever again. I just
Right. And
don't
it's like,
want
how
to.
do we actually acknowledge that the people that we're swiping, the people that we're
Yeah.
ghosting are like real people,
Yeah.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
was I was talking to my friend, they're gay, and they were saying like, yeah, I swipe and then I even match with people and then we chat, but then I get either like confused if I really want to meet them or over it,
Mm-hmm.
and I just stop chatting and I just masturbate and I'm done. Right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's like, but I think like that is like an intense way to like actually talk about the fact that it's like
Yeah.
human connection is actually intense. And sometimes we use these apps as kind of like it closes some kind of like reward loop for us
Mm.
to get us
Yes.
going and to for us to like do more like self pleasure, right?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
self, and it's so I think it's just like, how do we move into more responsibility? Like, oh, there's a person on the other side that might that they're the center of their own universe and they're thinking that you're ghosting them because something is wrong with them. Like we
Hmm.
each are so self-centered and we're not
Yes.
seeing how, we just don't want to talk to you anymore. But the other person is like, I'm a failure, I'm rejected. So there's just like so
Right.
many intense ways that I think
Right.
we humanize like the
Mm-hmm.
dating app experience, that which
Yeah.
leads us to just think about it as like a fungible thing.
Right. Have you ever personally been on a dating app?
Well, so see, here I am. I have 5% battery. I'm not at all
Yeah.
available.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes go and like swipe, you know. I'm
Yeah.
like now I'm responsible enough to not do it on my app, you know.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
but
You're like,
sometimes I'm
I'm
like,
talking to the
what?
CEO. Yay.
Exactly. I was like, I don't want, you know what? It's like I have so much. It's like there's like a whole power thing that I'm like, I can't actually even date anyone on my app because like
Right.
I actually have like, you know, power on it. But I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
I
Right.
have my own being like, what's out there? Like, you know, it's like, yeah, I have
Mm-hmm.
5% battery, but I like want to be entertained, you know, or I
Right.
want to get
Right.
validation, right? Like, I think dating apps both meet our need for like novelty and
Mm-hmm.
seeking and seeing what's out there, but also they meet the need for validation.
Right. Right.
And some of the times I'm like, well, you go on, you swipe, you get something, then you even match, but then you're like, I can't, you know,
Mm.
it's like, how do you manage this
Right.
conversation, right?
Right.
And do I think that you're gonna get me? Do I think that you know, we're the same person, even regardless of how much time I have? Like, there's so many future hurdles, and
Mm-hmm.
really, what I found, I only went probably on like 2 dates from dating sites, and really one of them was like an actual date, and we built a
Yeah.
relationship. But I think what made me connect with that person is that we shared community. So they
Mm.
commented on a photo and they're like, oh, I know exactly what festival this is from. And I was like,
Right. Right.
okay, we have shared values, we have shared understanding of you know, community and what we believe
Yeah.
in. And at the end of the day, that's really it's such a big part of matching.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
Absolutely.
part of like how Luna, who is the founder of Bloom, designed it. She was like, how do we get more people in a place of like shared experiences?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're able to like know that you share values, you're able to like
Right.
show up in a meaningful way. And then it's like way easier to be like, oh yeah, let's go on a coffee date. Oh
Right.
yeah,
Right.
let's go and you can meet, you know, we can be like cat parents or whatever it is. I think there's
Right.
just like something there that it's like, how do you create more I don't know if it's like the filter is higher or it's just like
Right.
even your heart is more open when you know that
Sure.
someone has a shared experience.
Right. What are your thoughts on that ideology, but from a long distance perspective? Because obviously, one of the things that happened over the COVID years, as I call it, is obviously people found ways to connect with other people that aren't necessarily in their area. Bloom community is an example where the people that that come and listen in on the classes, the people that talk with each other on the app, they're from all
Right.
over, which is a fantastic thing. And it's possible to connect with somebody that is not even in your time zone, not even in your country. Like
Yeah,
it's so
right.
easy to find that connection now. How do you feel people should be navigating the long distance side of that type of connection that people are seeking?
Yeah. Ugh, totally. Um
Mhm.
it's like I think about it as like, you know, we can't fix the system of like
Mhm.
wanting dopamine hits, right? Like we just
Yeah.
can't fix our human tendency for it. And like
Yeah.
the apps are not building it for us, but the apps are working with our human tendencies to build like the worst machine for us in some way.
Mhm.
But I'm like, what if how do we how do we create like better dopamine hits, or how do we get like,
Mm.
you know, maybe other hormones in, right, like
Yeah.
oxytocin, right? Like how do
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
create more? So when I think about the app, you know, we have a chat room, we have like chat rooms,
Mhm.
like one of our most active chats is like ADHD, and
Yeah.
the ADHD
Yeah.
room, like people are just like cannot like, and right, like why? Because like we have a shared
Mhm.
understanding of each other, right? Like we have
Absolutely.
something to talk about, which is like an underlying experience of life, right? So it's like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you're from New York, or it doesn't matter if you're poly or you're into kink,
Mhm.
but now we have something
Right.
else that brings us together, which is neurodivergence
Mhm.
life.
Right.
And so I think all the time, like, how can we reduce the threshold for connection, right? Because like going on a
Mhm.
date is a very high threshold. Like that's, you know,
Yes.
one maybe a day if you're like really good at
Right.
it.
Right, right.
But I'm like, how can I get more people to feel connection? And I think like something like
Mhm.
chats, something
Yeah.
like workshops,
Mhm.
something like you know, I have this question of the day on the app where people like
Mhm.
just answer a question and they see other people's answers and they can
Yeah.
engage with it. like these things are moments of like very low involvement for connection, like
Hmm.
low investment for connection.
Right,
And
right.
like if I can allow people to create more of that, they'll keep on believing in the future that they can find like the big
Mm,
connection, the big
yeah.
attachment, but they'll keep on like playing in the realm of connection.
Right. They'll start to fully understand, maybe like 'cause people may not know what they're looking for, but by having a community like this and looking at other people's questions and answers and communicating, they might start to get an understanding about the thing that makes them happy,
Right.
from any standpoint. That's a great way to I never thought of it that way. That's a brilliant standpoint, especially from an AD. What's people don't understand with, like, I have severe ADHD. ADHD with ADHD, it is so tough to date. It is so hard because, number one, like for me, I get very, very hyper focused on projects and things, and like it's very easy for me to like get home from work, and like I'm writing a book, right? So it's easy for me to just hyper focus on this book all night and not text the person that I was supposed to text. Right? It's really easy for that to happen. My memory is very much affected. So sometimes I'll just forget, or I'll think I did and I totally didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's little things like that. And that's just two things. I mean, ADHD is it's a spectrum, but I
Totally.
mean, it can affect people in major, major ways. So dating with ADHD and dating people who have ADHD, it's tough. We have to work extra hard. We really do. And it's
Yeah.
exhausting.
Do you feel like, because you mentioned hyper focus and I have a few
Yeah.
partners that are also hyper focused, do you feel like there is some level of, because are you at the beginning like very hyper focused on them? And like I'm like wondering if like the
Ooh.
gap of attention is also like I can be super focused on you on the date or when we start texting, and then
Right.
like but like life is just like pulling me continuously to hyper focus, and is
Yeah.
that like a experience of pain for the other
That's a
person?
great, great question. Wow. I I think it comes down to what we were talking about before. Like when you meet somebody new that just hits those buttons for you, like obviously, like you're gonna be transfixed, right? And like you're in like this honeymoon phase in your brain. You're like, oh my god, I found the person. Like you were so excited. And then finally you come back down to earth.
Yeah.
and and like now you have to find a way to be in this relationship or dating, whatever it may be, and go about your life the way that you're used to or the way that you want to. And I feel like that is where the communication sometimes fall apart. I know that's one of my struggles, is like in the past, like my communication was awful. It was so bad. And by communication, I don't mean just like, oh, I'm going to text you today. I mean like telling somebody how I feel, or telling somebody, the things that I struggle with, or the things that bother me, whatever it may be. That was a
Yeah.
struggle for me. And now I try to make it a point to like be as open as I can and honest, even if I know it might hurt them or hurt me, whatever it may be. But that's a great question. And I wonder if people don't realize that that might be part of the issue that they have, that they might be hyper focused on that relationship in the beginning, and then it's like
Just
they see
like,
something
yeah.
shiny and then something else. That's a great question. Wow.
And then it's like, how do we? I think it's also like society, right, has taught us
Mm,
about like this one person, right? Like you mentioned, like I'm so grateful I have all these friends that
yeah.
I work with or I hang out with, and
Yeah.
I think that so many people are just like transfixed on like I need the one, right? Like all my friends
Yes.
are married, all my friends have like a husband and two kids, and it's
Yeah.
like I need to find that. But what if you're like unavailable for that, right? Like
Hmm.
what if you're writing a book, right? And so it's like
Yeah.
how do we create more community? And that, I
Hmm.
was in San Diego and I did a happy hour as part of Bloom, and
Yeah.
people came and they're like, I hate happy hours, but I just came here to meet you.
Oh,
And I was like, I also don't love happy hours,
yeah.
but sometimes it's better than like being on Netflix, right? And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
can we
Hmm.
say like, okay, yeah, happy hours didn't get me my partner, but I got home after I left. I got home after I
Hmm.
like shared something meaningful with someone else. Like I
Right.
think we need to like be better at celebrating and building for like life connections
Mm.
instead of, the Hollywood, uh,
Yes.
you know, perfect match and like
Yeah,
mind-blowing
like the whole
experience.
Western civilization style of like, get married, have kids, and a white picket fence and a home and
Yeah,
all of that, because it's just not that world.
right.
It's really
That's the
not.
lie. That's what I
Hmm.
tell um, my team members. When I used to work in tech, now most of my team knows it. But when I worked in tech, I had all these, junior marketers. They were like 27. And I remember Julia was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be 30 in 3 years, and my life is gonna end." And I'm like, "No, life is.
Yeah.
This is the lie that your parents told
Hmm.
you. In
Yeah.
society, they told you that you're
Hmm.
gonna be like 28, you're gonna find a husband and a job, and it's gonna be
Yep.
like up to the right, like linear line." I was
Hmm.
like, no way. Your parents, when you were sleeping, they were fighting. They might have cheated
Yes.
on each other. They
Yeah.
had like midlife crisis about their career. Like there's
Hmm.
so much drama in life and adventure that can be had after you're 30, even if will be had,
Hmm.
even if you don't want it, to be honest, because like it's
Yeah.
not easy to have a relationship.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do we actually uncover that more and talk about it a little bit more,
Right.
and
Right.
actually allow people to navigate it?
Right. I'll be honest. I love my 30s the most. I'm 36. I'll be 37 this year. I love my 30s.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I was afraid to. I was one of those people, like when I turned 25, I was like, "Oh my God, my life is over." And then I turned 30, and I started to have like a better understanding of life. And now at 36, I'm at a point now that I've kind of accepted the fact that what we were talking about before may not happen. Like I may not get married to the woman of my dreams. Um I may not have kids. Like that is a possibility that might happen, but it's okay because I found joy. I'm not against getting married. I'm not against having children at all. But I also know that that might not happen, and I'm okay with that. I just want to find joy wherever I can get it, and and that's what I seek, because that's the only
Yeah.
thing I can control. For all I know, Noah, I'm gonna walk out this door tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna have one of those like Hollywood movie moments where I'm gonna accidentally bump into somebody. They're gonna drop their papers. I'm gonna bend down and go help them pick them up, and then I look in their eyes and like, "Oh, will you marry me? Let's go get
Yeah.
coffee." Like like you never know. But I
And
also
fuck the
may.
book.
Exactly right. Right. And on who knows, or maybe that, or it's going to be a normal Monday where where I wake up, I feed my cats, and I go to work. Typical Monday.
Have you read the book Big Magic
No.
from it's Elizabeth Gilbert, the
No.
author of Eat, Pray, Love?
Okay. Okay.
And she talks about ideas as like as beings in the
Mm.
universe, and they come and they tap you on the shoulder, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Are you gonna do this? Like, I have a book for you. Are you gonna do it? If not, I'll just go to someone else."
Right.
And and she talks about having this book that was like perfect. She got even someone to like pay for it, and then
Yeah.
she met a partner, and she went, they went traveling, and she totally
Yeah.
put the book on the side burner for
Yeah.
probably 5 years. And she met someone 5 years later at a conference. She hugged them,
Hmm.
and where she said that in that moment, theoretically, the idea was like, "I'm giving up on you, you haven't done it, I'm moving to the
Mm.
other person." And that is this other author published the same book that she wanted, same storyline, same
No
everything,
way.
a year later.
Oh my
and,
God.
and so it's like, and which I love that vision, right? Because sometimes when I have like
Right.
crazy ideas, I'm like, this has nothing to do with me, I'm just like a vessel for
Yeah.
this idea. But
Right.
it's just like this idea of like, yeah, like life changes all the time. And, how do
Hmm.
we kind of allow the randomness of life to happen?
Right. There might be people listening to this right now that are like, I'm vibing with both these people and what they're saying and all of that, but I don't know how to navigate life right now. Maybe
Right.
maybe they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They might be single. They might maybe recently divorced, and they don't know which direction they want to go in, or they're confused about their sexuality. Like there could
Yeah.
be a number of things where just people feel lost right now or not sure. If they're listening right now, what would you say to them?
Oh, wow. Well, so I'll just say that I was there, right? So when I was
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, I had my second kid,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working at Lyft, which was like the best company, right?
Are
But
you
I felt
listening,
like,
Uber? Did you hear that, Uber? Lyft is the
I
best.
know, so true. I have so many, I could talk about that for hours. But It was like my dream, as if dream job, which was not
Yeah.
actually. But I was in this place that I was like, oh, I got all the things, and I felt like super alone, right? Like the world told
Mm,
me that my peers are my friends, but I couldn't connect with any of them. I couldn't talk to them about any of my
mm,
challenges. They told me that like my impact in the world is like the number of rides I made for this company, which didn't really feel inspiring.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I remember my husband was producing a festival, and he was like, I'm living the dream, I'm making people,
right.
ground in their body and, find connection. And I was like, I'm angry. I had this, like, I call it like the fall of rage. I was like, this is
Yeah,
bullshit. You
yeah.
better like quit your job, close your festival, and get a job that you hate as well, so we can both suffer together. Like
Let's be
literally.
angry together. Let's be frustrated
Exactly.
together.
And I was like, I don't think that's true, right? Like maybe I have an opportunity to find like joy and
Hmm.
connection. And I remember having that moment that I was like, I'm gonna find people, like I'm gonna find
Yeah.
community. Like I might not be able to find my dream job, but I can actually find people maybe that I can share something with. And what I really wanted is I want to get into a room and people's like eyes to light up. Like that's really what I
Mm,
wanted. I wanted like to
hmm.
feel like seen for
Yeah.
the magic of me in some way.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, okay, and I found this community, right? So I think community is the path. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to these like
Hmm.
parties that were like dance and sensuality, but I didn't really want to be sensual with anyone. But I'm like, I
Hmm.
want community. So I came and I was like, I'm gonna host like a vulnerable question booth. And I would
Yeah.
like sit there and ask people like random vulnerable questions. And then I was like, I'm gonna create a tea shop in this party. And
Right.
I just like kept on showing up, right? And kept on like creating and kept on. And I remember the third party, like I had 2 Facebook friend requests. I was like, yes, it's happening. It's
Yeah.
happening. I'm finding people.
Yeah.
And 8 months later, I remember walking into a party and people were like, Noah. And I was like, this is it. I didn't find
You
my
got
one
your
and
wish.
right? I didn't find my
Oh my
one and
God.
only. I didn't like, have like epic adventures, but I had a place for me. And I
Yeah.
think I want people to like believe that it's possible. Like there is people
Mm,
out there that are having like fun times. They do like workshops. They talk about their feelings. They dance. They
yeah.
put costumes on. They're
Yeah.
like radical and epic and fun. And they're out there and they'd love to like meet other people. So like just like trust that this is a possibility, and like you can download the Bloom app or you can go on Instagram or you can like go
Yeah.
on Meetup, like there's so many ways, but like go find people and like actually meet them, and like the magic is there. The magic of like human connection still works.
Right, right. That's amazing. And that's one of the reasons why uh when I was introduced to Bloom, I was like, this is so freaking cool. Like I'm like, these are really cool people. And I forgot what day. I should probably look up the date. So on
Yeah,
February
fifth.
is it February 5th? Yeah, February 5th. I'll be doing another
Yeah, workshop, a
discussion,
class.
another workshop. Yeah, which is super exciting. And we're going to be I'm talking about ADHD and non-monogamy, if I'm not
Uh-huh,
mistaken. I
yeah.
think yeah, I should. I was like, why am I having a brain fart right now? But yeah, I'm super excited because that's I have a lot of thoughts about that, and that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to come out and say the stuff that I said in the beginning, because I'm like I want people to understand that like I like this is stuff that I that I go through, and I have a personal connection to all of this, and there's no better place for me to have this conversation than the Bloom community, because
I know. And it's like
it's
I
so
was really
beautiful.
touched. I was really touched by, and you kind of posted um after you did the class about like the community, and I
Hmm.
watched the recording of your class and like the level of engagement, and I'm like, wow, we have like the nicest people on the app. It's
They're
like
so
they're
nice.
so nice. And it's like it's when I
Yes.
think about like, I'm trying to do this like bigger campaign. I was like, we're all about like inclusivity, right? That we're all
Hmm.
about like, oh, like your perspective matters. You know how people are like,
Right.
if you know, you know. I feel like Bloom
Hmm.
is like, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, here's like 17 people that want to teach you about how it works,
Yeah.
because it's totally fine. And yeah, it's really, really interesting. If in Philly, we're not that big at all anymore, but if you go to like New
Mm.
York, we have probably like 1,000 events a month that people
That's
are
amazing.
posting.
I'm not far from New York. I
Yeah, I know.
it's
There's
only
like
an hour
speed
and
dating
change.
events. There are like
Amazing.
epic like costume parties. Like there's sex trivia. Do you know Nikki Bloom? She's a sex educator.
No.
She's awesome. She does like the sex trivia like 3 times a month, and it's
No way.
hilarious.
That's so funny. I would probably fail. And I had a I interviewed a sex therapist once, and I thought that I was like pretty like I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought it was pretty chill, like when it came to like sexual activity. And then I interviewed a sex therapist on my podcast, and I'm like, I know absolutely nothing.
I love
I
that.
know absolutely nothing. I learned so much, and it's
I
come in
have a
handy.
vision. I have a vision of you. And Rachel Lark is our social media person.
Uh-huh.
She's like
Yeah.
an amazing, amazing singer-songwriter that
Oh,
writes
no
all
way.
about like relating and sex, and
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's in New York. I have this like vision of her taking you on a night out to like show you all the
Yes.
epic things that are happening
Yes.
in New York and all the different workshops that people
Absolutely.
post on Bloom.
Rachel, if you're listening,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
though she a funny story is because I think you and her were exchanging emails about stuff, and I think you had asked me whether I'd prefer to be called Kyrus or Kai. And so I said, oh, my closest friends call me Kai, so you can call me Kai. And so Rachel, I had responded to you, and Rachel had responded. She's like, I'll call you Kyrus because I have to earn the name Kai. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, no, you don't have to do that. We can be friends. I promise. I'm okay. I'm not mean.
I love it. You know, I'm Israeli in my
Yeah.
background, so, like my where I come from. So it's like if
Yeah.
you spend
Yeah.
a night out partying, you're
Hmm.
like best friends. You know, it's
Oh,
like
absolutely.
we're committed forever. We're like, you have my back forever, I have your back.
Yeah.
So you and Rachel in New York, I think then maybe
Absolutely.
Kai will be appropriate.
Absolutely. And you do know anybody that comes on my podcast, that means that we are friends now too. Like
Yes, I
you
love
can't get
that.
rid of me. You do know this, right? Like I am now the annoying friend that's like, hey, what's up? How are you?
You know, it makes me think, but as you said it, it makes me think about it makes me think, you know, I did this course called Somatica, which is like
Hmm.
somatic therapy.
Okay.
And they talk about people having like different ways of like expressing their sexuality.
Hmm.
Some people are like, you know, very spiritual, like, oh my God, we're one, like I found my soulmate. Other
Right.
people are like lust, like I can't sit, like I can't stop, I can't take my hands off
Right.
of you. Some
Yeah.
people are romantic, right? Which is like, I just like, my heart breaks to think that we're not gonna be together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and part of me is like realizing like, oh, it's just all role play, right? It's just like what turns you
It
on, like
is.
what story. So I have a partner and he's very romantic, and you know, I live in Maui and I come back and forth
Hmm.
from the Bay, and I come
Yeah.
to the Bay, and you know, we have like dates, and he's like, oh my God, and I love you so much. And I was like, oh, you know, I just want to be with you forever, but really I'm like flying out tomorrow and I'll see you in like 3 months again. So I kind of feel like what you were talking about, like the hyper
Yeah.
focus and the moving away, right?
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
how can we be like, okay, we did this podcast, Kai, we're like
Hmm.
forever friends.
Right.
We'll see you in 3 months, but like,
Right.
like,
Right.
but like this is so real for right now.
Absolutely. At least because I know, like, because there's an understanding, because like we may not talk again for like another week, and like, but like it's okay because like both of us will like we'll pick up where we left off. Like it's gonna be
Exactly.
perfectly fine. So you're stuck with me. You're stuck
Yeah,
with me.
exactly. I'm so
So I hope
stoked.
that's okay. So for anybody that's listening right now, that's like, okay, I want to learn more about the Bloom community. I want to learn more about all of this stuff. I'm going to include links to that in the description of this podcast. All you have to do is click download the app, and even if you don't attend my class, my workshop, there are so many workshops that they offer that are right up your alley, that answer questions, that validate you, that help you feel just welcome and not alone. Because I know there's a lot of people, if there's one message that I get from people all the time on my platforms, is that they feel like they're alone. And it's so cliche to say that you're not alone, but it feels good when you can actually show people that they're not alone. And so the Bloom community is a wonderful, wonderful place where you definitely will not feel alone. It's so they're so welcoming and all of that. So Noa, thank you so much for like sitting and talking with me today. Like this is
It's
such a
it's so
pleasure.
much
Thank you so
fun.
much. I didn't know you were in Maui. Now I have to I guess I have to come to Maui. Oh
I know,
no.
I know. And this is a relationship escalator. Like
Yes,
it's
absolutely. And
like
it helps that you're in a
podcast is
beautiful
like
spot.
level one. Come to
Yeah.
Maui for a weekend is like level two.
Just a weekend? If I go to
Well,
Maui, I'm
just
staying
level
for a
two,
while.
it's,
If I come to Maui, I'm staying for at least like 4 or
yes.
5 days. I need to
Well,
take it all
there's
in.
like whales here right now.
Whales,
Like
like
actual, so
ocean.
humpback whales come to Maui to have their babies, and you actually go out with a kayak, and whales like just breach in front of you.
That's like kind of cool. Like that's like,
Yeah, yeah, you have to come and see it for a week at least.
oh no, I have to spend my time in a beautiful area with my friend. Oh no, that sounds awful. I fine, twist my arm, why don't you? No, I definitely no, I will 100% come out. Whether the males are or whether the whales are mating or not, I will be there.
Yes, I love that.
My God, Noah, thank you so much, honestly, for sitting and chatting with me. As I said, if you want to learn more about everything that we're talking about today, I'm going to include the links to this in the description of this podcast. No, I would love to have you back on because I feel like we touched upon a bunch of things that I think we can go
I would love that.
into deep dive and stuff like that. So, my friends, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Noah, thank you so much for being here. To everybody that's watching right now, you are not alone. I promise you. As always, much love, good vibes, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.